started. All right, on a sheet of paper, down the left-hand side of the sheet of paper, I want you to write the word grow, G-R-O-W. G stands for, what are your goals? What were your goals for January? It's pretty much over. What were your goals? What were your goals for 2022? What's the reality? Where are you at in relation to those goals? That's the R. The O is, what are the obstacles? What are the obstacles that are stopping you from achieving your goals? And the W is, what's the way forward? And in speaking with you guys, in the emails I get, the text messages I get, the conversations I'm having with coaching clients and with real estate agents that are part of this group, not part of this group, there's a common theme. And here's a question that I want to ask you in reference to that common theme. And I want you to write it down in present tense. In other words, what's the one thing that I'm not doing? The way I wrote it down is, what's the one thing that you're not doing? Because that's the way it's written, but I don't want you to write it down that way. I want you to write down, what's the one thing that I'm not doing because I don't want to do it? What's the one thing that I'm currently not doing because I don't want to do it, that if I were to start doing it today would move me closer to my goals? And the most common answers I get when I ask that question are, well, the most common answers I get when I ask that question are cold calling to sell by owners and expireds, door knocking, talking to strangers, things that make us uncomfortable. You can replace the word uncomfortable for pain, right? And you could say things that create pain. Okay, so we're motivated by avoiding pain. Totally cool, I get it, right? If you don't clean up your room, you're in timeout. Pain, I'm gonna clean up my room. And the greater pain always wins. So what's more painful? Getting into the habit of making those calls every day, hitting that standard that you set, that non-negotiable standard, hitting that standard for circle prospecting every day. I'm going to talk to 20 people every day making circle prospecting calls. I'm going to go out and knock on doors until somebody says, I'm thinking of selling my home. I'm going to ask everybody I know in XYZ neighborhood, do you know of anybody who's thinking of selling their home in the next 6 months? Gee whiz, how much simpler can it get than that? And I'm going to do it no matter how many doors are slammed in my face until somebody says, I am. And it's going to be painful because we don't like rejection. We don't like not getting results. So what's the greater pain? Knocking on those doors or not being able to pay your bills? You've got to connect with the greater pain, because the greater pain will motivate you. I want you to take a sheet of paper, and I want you to draw a line going from left to right. And on that sheet of paper, on the far left-hand side, I want you to write the word complete and total failure. And on the right-hand side, I want you to write massive success. So on the left-hand side, we have complete and total failure. And on the right-hand side, we have massive success. Now, from left to right, I want you to number that line 1 to 10. And what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself a score, not based on where you are in reference to failure versus success. I want you to give yourself a score based on effort, based on the daily effort that you put into your real estate business. At the end of the day, is your gas tank empty? Or are you finishing the day with gas in your tank? You see, all you could do is all you could do, and all you could do is enough when you do all you could do. Have you done all you can do? Now, in the middle of that line, I want you to draw a little box, and I want you to write average. So on the far left-hand side, we have complete and total failure, and on the far right-hand side, Yes and no, Jessica. I'll get to that in just a second. Good question. So lost my train of thought. On the far left-hand side, we have complete and total failure. On the far right-hand side, we have massive success. And in the middle, we have average. Now we have numbers 1 through 10. I want you to give yourself a score based on the effort that you put into your job every single day. 10 means you have absolutely nothing left at the end of the day. So Jessica, here's the answer to your question. If you finish the day with gas in your tank, it means you could have made one more call. I stopped at 19 and I could have made another call, or I stopped knocking on doors at the 15th home because whatever, and I could have knocked on 5 more doors. I had it in me. I had it in me. Or I finished the day completely empty. I had nothing left in me. Now, don't get confused because I'm not talking about how many hours you work. How many hours you work doesn't matter. It is a myth that you have to be a workaholic to be successful. You can work 6 hours a day, 4 days a week, and be massively successful. Success is the result of how much focus and energy you put into your time, not how much time you put into your business. So what's your score? Did you give yourself a 7, 8, 6? What's your score? Here's what I know. Most people end up in that box in the middle, which is average. And most people end up there because they do things based on whether they want to do them or they don't want to do them. Are you making decisions based on what you want to do? If you are, that's going to lead to a life of mediocrity. Are you okay with that? Would you choose that life for your kids? If I were talking to your children right now, and you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, and you put all of your kids in front of me and said, okay, John, go for it. Would you want me to tell them your mom and dad's wanted me to get you guys together and tell you to aim a little bit lower, to not think so big, to live a mediocre life, to settle for less than what you can do? Would you want me to talk to your kids that way? And if you don't want me to talk to your kids that way, why would you want me to talk to you that way? I'm doing as good as I can. Everything is all right. Everything is okay. Ask somebody at the end of the day, what kind of day did you have? Justin comes home. Justin, how was your day? Most people, pay attention, start doing this, are going to respond with okay. And the reason they're having okay days is because they don't know what a great day looks like. Do you know what a great day looks like? Do you know what needs to happen in order for you to win the day? Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the day after tomorrow. Just win the day today. Finish the day with nothing left in your tank. On a scale of 1 to 10, give this day a 10 when it comes to effort. Go to bed exhausted. Go to bed exhausted, but knowing within yourself that you did everything that you could do and in order to move closer to your goal that day. Most people live their lives in the middle. Most of us miscalculate what it takes to succeed at a high level and end up getting caught at the midpoint of achievement. Whatever you think it's going to take more. Whatever amount of effort you think it's going to take, double it. What's the worst thing that can happen? If you work 60 minutes in an hour with every single bit of energy and focus that you have, what's the worst thing that can happen? Now, am I saying that you should plug in and work 6 hours a day with 100% focus and 100% energy? No, it's not human. You can't do that. Whatever your favorite sporting event is, pay attention. There is not a sporting event on the planet where there is non-stop action. Now, as soon as I say that, somebody's going to chime in and say, they never stop in soccer. They never stop in hockey. Pay attention. Not every single player on that field, not every single hockey player on that ice is going 100% full out every moment. You know, in hockey, they have, boy, I'm going to go somewhere I don't know anything about, but in hockey, they have lines, I think they call them. And there's like first line, second line, third line, fifth line, sixth line. And the average amount of time that each line is on the ice is 1 minute and 30 seconds. 1 minute and 30 seconds. And they're going all in for 1 minute and 30 seconds because they know in 1 minute and 30 seconds, they're back on the bench. What if you worked your day like that? What if you worked in 10-minute spurts where you gave it absolutely everything you had, and then you took a 2-minute break? And then you went back at it for 10 minutes with everything you have. Smile, dial, smile, dial, smile, dial. Do you know if anybody's looking to buy or sell a home? Do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell a home? Do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell a home? I am a movie guy and I'm a reader, and I'm looking for motivation and inspiration. And there's this movie titled The Pursuit of Happiness, and Will Smith is playing the part of this man who's homeless, and he has a child, and he's trying to take care of his family, and he's working to become a stockbroker in San Francisco. And don't watch the entire movie, but what I want you to do is just YouTube the part where he's talking about what he did when he was making calls. This was back before the day of dialers. He would not put the phone down so that he could save that extra 2 seconds of putting the phone down and picking it back up. He would not drink any water during the day so he could save the time that it took him to go to the bathroom, because he's drinking and needs a break to go to the bathroom. He would sit down at his desk and just dial, because he had less hours than everybody else did, because he had to pick up his child from daycare and get in line at the homeless center so they didn't have to spend the night on the street. Guy's worth millions, not because of how many hours he worked, but because of the focus and energy he put into his time. Some of you are not succeeding simply because you're not putting the right amount of focus and energy into your job. The motivation for more doesn't matter. Having big dreams doesn't matter. What that means is you can have big motivation. You can have big dreams. If you don't have the drive to live your life at a 10 level every single day, you're going to end up in the middle. You can set all the goals you want. You can have motivation to get there. You can have big dreams. And if you don't have the drive, you're going to end up in the middle. The results tend to hover right around the middle of the line. Why do you suppose most people get stuck there? You get there by making decisions based on whether or not you want to do something. Stop doing what you want to do and do what you have to do in order to hit your goals. What's the one thing that you're not doing that if you were to start doing it today would move you closer to your goals? What's the one thing that you're not doing because you don't want to do it, that if you were to start doing it would move you closer to your goals? The road to average is paved with I don't want tos. If you want to live on the right of average, you must move past doing only what you want to do and do some things you don't want to do. The more you conquer this and do what you need to do but don't like to do, the farther to the right of the middle you will get. The measure of your success in life is in direct proportion to what you're willing to do when you don't want to do it. All I can do is all I can do, and all I can do is enough when I do all I can do. All I can do is all I can do, and all I can do is enough when I do all I can do. It's not measured by the number of times I succeed, but by the number of times I fail, and the number of I am not measured by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail and keep trying. Have you given up? Are you ready to give up? Are you thinking of giving up? Are you being told to give up? You control this. I was having a coaching conversation with someone the other day. This individual is in a pretty bad place, and not 100% their fault. Some of the reasons they're in the place they're in is because life. And I said, look, I'm going to tell you something and you're not going to like it, but I'm going to tell you why it's a good thing. The reason you are where you are is because of you. It's your fault. Here's the good news. If the past is your fault, the success is your choice. You can do something about that. All right, take yourself off mute. Talk to me.